If you implement even a simple text message strategy into your business, you're going to connect with more customers faster. So we just ran a promo to our text list and we saw an 89% open rate in under 15 minutes. Now here's what's crazier. That same promo went to our email list, which is way bigger, sat at 24% after 3 days. And it's not just us. Across the board in 2025, businesses are seeing SMS open rates over 90% with response rates up to 45% compared to 1 to 5 on email. Think about it. Do you open every email you get? No. Do you dread email? Yes. How many of you are glued to your phone? Do you open all of your text messages? Exactly. Now, I know this isn't a new strategy, but it is exploding now more than ever, getting its second wind. You are going to see better engagement and higher conversion rates right now. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you why text messaging is dominating in 2025, what you need to know before you start texting your customers, especially in today's world, and a few best practices that will make sure you don't cross any boundaries or do anything illegal. Because let me tell you, Texas just released some crazy text messaging rules and laws. Basically, we had to stop texting everybody in Texas until we were compliant, or there would be fines that start at $25,000. Do not do anything illegal. So make sure you watch this video. And by the way, if you don't know who I am, my name is Stacy Tuschl. I have an 8-figure business that just hit the Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies in America the last 3 years in a row. We are growing crazy fast. And one of our best marketing strategies is text messaging. In fact, if my show up rate is ever down to one of my free trainings, I immediately say to the team, go check the text messages. When we have a tech error or something happens where the texts do not go out, show up rate drastically decreases. So here's what you need to know. Yes, there was a time when email was king and we were all told, build your list, build your list, build your list. You could write an email, blast it out and have this insane open rate and people actually read it and did something with it. But let's be real, is that happening anymore? No, we are getting hit with emails over and over and over. You've got promos, you've got school stuff, you've got spam filters. Like there's so many things that are actually happening and it's really hard to survive when you are getting put in somebody's spam inbox constantly. And it doesn't even feel fair when you look at your open rates and you know that most of these people, they aren't even seeing it because Gmail is throwing it in their promotions tab. Maybe you're getting thrown in spam. They're not even getting a chance to open this email. Then there's the phone call. How many of you get spam calls all day long? It is insane, right? How many of you answer those phone numbers, okay? I have an iPhone and there's a setting that you can silence unknown callers. So think about this. When people call me and they are not a contact in my phone, it doesn't ring. It might ring on your end, but it goes right to voicemail on my end. I will never hear it. Things that used to work, calling people, emailing people, it's just different in today's world, right? There's a lot more friction that's happening and it's to protect the consumer, which is great, but not when you're on the other side and you're trying to sell to these consumers. But a text, that feels really different. It's simple, it's non-invasive, it's low pressure. It gives the person space to read it, think about it, and respond on their own time. But it's still personal, it's still direct, it's still fast. So I own dance, music, acting schools. That's what I've started doing like 23 years ago already. And we used to all the time call 2 weeks into the child's first lesson and say, hey, this is Stacy from APA. How's it going? Fill me in. What are they liking? What do they need, etc. And we would do these phone calls and they would be so successful because a parent would either say, oh my gosh, wow, this is amazing. Everything's going great. When I used to do these calls myself, I actually had a parent say, wow, we have been going to a different studio for 5 years. We just switched like 2 weeks ago, right, to this new place. And they have never called me to check in 5 years. And we've been here 2 weeks and you called to check in. As we scaled, I started passing those calls off to my team. And all of a sudden, year after year after year, my team was saying the open rate, like the pickup rate is going down. And it's not surprising because we don't want to pick up the phone anymore. We actually changed that to a text message. So now we will text the same thing we used to say. We'll text and say, hey, it's Stacy from APA. How are things going? How is little Susie liking her dance class? And a lot of times the parents will quickly respond with, it's going great. Thanks for checking in. Done. right? Versus they wouldn't pick up the phone and they definitely wouldn't call us back because that feels like such an inconvenience. So they weren't saying anything. Now via text, they're like, things are great, thanks. And we're like, amazing, happy to hear. If you need anything, let us know. And they kind of thumbs up it. Now, sometimes they say, she's not actually liking it, right? So we can say, hey, no problem. We've got a few options. Did you want me to give you a call and we can share other classes she may want to try? So we'll take the text to a phone call if something is needed. Sometimes people say, I'm in the middle of work right now. Can you just text me the options? And we get what they need in the way they want it. Now, here's the data. The average person opens a text message within 90 seconds. SMS open rates sit around 98%, with 90% in 3 minutes. That comes from simple texting. Pause for a second and take this in. What other channel is giving you that kind of visibility with that kind of open rates in that fast, right? You can't even get your best friend to open up an email in 3 minutes, but a text, oh, she's gonna see it and she's gonna see it fast. Because texting lives in the most sacred real estate on somebody's phone. It's on the lock screen. So my phone's over here. I can literally glance down, see it lit up, and see there's a text coming through. It's not buried in promotions or sitting in spam. It is right there in the thing that is always within arm's length, right? That you are always looking at. And I don't want you to think that this is just a younger generation situation. We are seeing this across all industries, with all different generations, with all of the clients that we are serving. So for instance, we have a med spa. They are sending last minute availability texts and filling appointments in minutes because it's like, hey, somebody canceled today. Did you want to get in? Our dance studios are alerting parents about recital details, right? Without all these endless email chains and you just don't know where that message was. And even better, you can say, have questions? Respond right here. We've got landscapers confirming services, getting same-day responses. We've got boutique owners. They're texting their VIP clients about early access to new arrivals. Even lawyers and financial advisors are checking in with their leads without the awkward back and forth phone tag that's never ending. You don't have time for more calls, and neither do your clients. And when texting is done right, it doesn't feel like marketing. It feels like a message from a friend, right? It feels like a real-time conversation because it is. And that is the key. And this is when your customers start feeling like you're talking to them and not at them, or like this is this mass email that I don't need to reply to. This feels intimate. It's like, hey, I'm asking you a question. You feel more obligated to respond. That's when they start engaging and buying. So if you are still relying heavily on email, or worse, phone calls as your primary way that you're reaching people, you are playing catch up. And the businesses who already have embraced texting are seeing a major, major difference. They are closing deals, booking appointments, and growing their list while you are still waiting on that email reply from 5 days ago. And trust me, don't wait any longer because it's sitting in promotions or spam and they're not even seeing it. Now, let's talk about how to start texting without being annoying. I don't know about you, but I am a little bit of a shopper. You know, some influencers on Instagram will get me. I'll go to the person's website. It's like, for 15% off, join our text messaging list. So of course, for the first time, we all join the text message list. And then what do we do after we have the coupon code? We bought the thing, we got the 15% off, we hit unsubscribe. And that's the problem, is text is only powerful if you get them to stay on it. So let's talk about what you can do to actually make them want to stay. Because texting is so intimate, it lives in the same place where people hear from their kids, their best friends, their partner. It's personal, which means if you get this wrong, you will feel out of place fast and they will unsubscribe very, very quickly. But when you do it right, you will build more connection, more urgency, and a faster action than you'll ever get on email. So here's how I would dip your toe the right way. Number one, I would be using a professional actual SMS platform. There's quite a few. There's Scipio, Project Broadcast, Simple Texting, Postscript. These are tools that were made for business owners like us, okay? It's also gonna let you stay legally compliant with all of these crazy opt-in rules, which is super important. I just told you what Texas is doing. I'm sure they're not the only state that's gonna start to implement this. Now, the reason I love having this in some sort of platform is you can segment your audience. So you can tag them. You can say VIP customers. You could say non-members. Maybe these are your high ticket customers. Maybe these are people that did your free community events. As you start to properly tag and segment, now you're only going to reach out to certain people. So let's say I've got a new offer, new promo, me specifically with well-oiled operations, and it's a high ticket offer. I can go in and see who is tagged or flagged as a maybe 7-figure plus business that is way more likely to buy that thing than somebody who's generating $100,000 in annual revenue. Why would I want to blast and spam somebody at a lower level that's not going to buy the big thing when I can segment and decide who is going to get what? This is going to be a game changer in the way that you're doing this. You can also schedule and automate messages to go out at the exact time you need it. So this is going to be big. If you rely on manual, you're probably not going to do it. You're going to forget, you're going to get busy, and this is where it's going to be an issue because it's only effective if you actually do it. Now, this isn't just texting from your phone. It's actually marketing automation for your lock screen. Big things to know here is if somebody is already your client and has willingly provided their phone number as a part of maybe onboarding or their intake form, you can send them a one-on-one manual text message without explicit marketing permission. Now, as long as it's related to the service you're providing them, appointment reminders, updates, check-ins, etc., please check your state law, your country law, because things are changing so fast. But what they're saying is you're not sending promotional or marketing content, right? You're sending them something based off of what they've already purchased, okay? So examples that you can send as of right now without X permission would be something like, hey, Sarah, just a reminder, your appointment's tomorrow at 10 a.m. Most people are grateful for that reminder, right? Maybe it's like, hey, just checking in. How did your order turn out? Did everything go okay? Again, most people want that answer, that opportunity to answer. Another one, hi, I'm running 10 minutes behind. I'll be with you shortly. No one is complaining about the text. They're grateful you sent the text. They're definitely annoyed you're 10 minutes behind, but you get what I'm saying. Now, these are considered what we call transactional or service related, right? So this is actually allowed under the TCPA and for Canada, the CASL, as long as there's a legitimate relationship. I'm going to say again, please check your laws. They are changing, okay? So this is huge. However, if you are ever going to put them in a software and mass blast everybody, you 1000% need their permission. Texting without consent isn't just rude, it's actually illegal, and you can get major fines. So make it a part of your lead capture strategy. So when somebody signs up for a promo, maybe they download a freebie, they join a wait list, ask them to check a box that, yes, you can text me updates and offers. Now that I've said this, you're going to see this all over the place. You're going to see every time you go somewhere, somebody already has that because they're really wondering, do you want this or not? This is going to help protect your reputation and ensure that the people on your list actually want to hear from you. So we want to make sure we're starting simple and strategic. Don't overcomplicate it, right? Start with something as basic as like appointment reminders, right? Last minute openings or cancellations. These feel the least spammy out of anything, right? Maybe you've got a great flash sale or a VIP promo that they are going to want to hear about. Maybe it's a birthday or an anniversary perk. Who doesn't want a coupon code or something for their birthday? Maybe you want to do some local event invites or pop-up announcements. Ask yourself, like, what can I do to make this personal? Use their name, use emojis like you really text your friend. So I think this is really difficult for a lot of business owners because we have been taught be professional. And emojis don't scream professional, right? But in text messaging, it is 1000% okay. It's kind of like if you're doing Instagram posts without emojis, please don't do that. Like you definitely want to put emojis in there. It's the same thing with text. It really is just like, this is appropriate for this type of platform. People expect it. You want it to feel like we're just texting with friends. Do you use emojis when you text with friends? I do, and most of the population is too. It makes it more light, more friendly, and not so professional, not so corporate, not so robotic. And that's actually what people want. They want to feel like they're speaking not to a company, but to a one-on-one person. You know who has the best text messaging customer service? Rent the Runway. So I do so many events, so many photo shoots. I need so many clothes and I can wear them like one time and then they're all over my Instagram and then it just feels like you can't wear them again. Now my husband's going to argue, yes, you can. But it feels like I already got that look, right? So a lot of times I'll rent some really nice dresses or whatever from Rent the Runway. And one of the reasons I like them so much is because their customer service via text is insane. I've got them saved in my phone. At any moment, I could say, hey, there's an issue with this. Not the company, but a person reaches out and they're like, hey, Stacy, I am so sorry to hear about that, right? And then what's so funny is lately, I can tell they've got a better system in place. They will even look at something I've rented and say, wow, that pink dress that you got is beautiful. Can't wait to see what it looks like. Stuff like that, where it's just like, wow, I feel like I'm chatting with a girlfriend, right? That is what you want text to feel like. Now, they are still very, very professional, but there is something more personal about the way they're doing it. Guess how many times I've emailed Rent the Runway for a problem? Never. Because they first responded to, they email me and they text me. What's easier? Text. And when I'm in my bedroom putting something in my closet and I notice something, I'm not sitting where I'm like on the computer typing out an email, but I definitely have my phone right there. You also want to be concise, clear, and compelling. Texting is not email. This isn't a place for long form, long story, 5 paragraphs. No, because when I see a gigantic text, I'm like, too long to read, okay? Get to the point fast, all right? Now, you could use ChatGPT and say, this is the email that I'm sending. What is something I could do in text that would be just as compelling? And you could actually tell it, every software has different rules, right? So you might say, I only get X amount of characters. So now it knows exactly how long to put it in. You could say, please add an emoji, whatever it is, right? So you could easily take all of your emails, condense that into one sentence for a good text message. Now let's compare these two, okay? So email might be like, hey there, Stephanie, we're so excited to tell you about our newest spring collection. As one of our favorite customers, you're getting early access. Click here to shop now before we open it up to the public tomorrow. That's actually a pretty short email, but that's still way too long for a text. The text version is, Stephanie, our spring VIP collection just dropped. Early access ends at midnight. Link. It is short, it is sweet. All of that bonus like fluffer stuff is out. It's the same message, completely different. Super easy for her to quick read, grab that link and go. Now, one of our well-oiled clients, they run a pest control company. So he was struggling to get traction on his email list, right? Open rates were around 20% on a good day. Click-through rate under, I think like 1.5 or something like that percent. So we helped him launch a text campaign to only 63 people. You guys, when I say he is not big, he is not a global company. He's a local landscaper, a local pest control service, okay? What do we do? I said, listen, these are still 63 people. Let's do it, right? So he messages these 63 people with an upsell offer. The result was 36% conversion. Same offer, just delivered via text. The same thing he was doing in email, but just did it in text, okay? This is the moment he realized like text messaging is a must. Now, you might be wondering, I'm in, but how often should I be texting? What should I say? How do I keep people from opting out, right? This is gonna bring us to probably the most important part, which is how to text without burning your list, breaking their trust, having them constantly just unsubscribe, or even worse, get pulled because it's not legal. So here are some few text message best practices to really build loyalty and not just get sales. So the key here is consistency without overwhelm, which is easier said than done. So here's what we recommend to keep your text list healthy, happy, and kind of hungry for more, right? So we actually don't require a phone number. So when we do our opt-ins, we offer it as an option. And what's so funny is when we were getting around maybe 50-60% of people to give us their phone number. And we started to watch what was happening. And we realized, wow, when we text people, they're actually seeing it, they're opening it, they're showing up, they're doing all the things. So we were like, you know what? Let's go make it required on our form. So we added friction. So we knew that because we added friction, we would have less people opt in, but they would be higher quality leads. So we're like, okay, let's do it. And it did drop. And not only did we have higher quality leads, but we just didn't see the numbers overall. So our numbers really did get smaller. I should say like revenue, cash got smaller. So we realized because we track data, right? Data directs us. We can't go that route. So we went back, we made it optional again, but we gave a better reason to join the text message list. And guess what happened? Our 50 to 60% is now 70% of people that are giving us their email. 70% of those people are giving us their text, their phone number, which is crazy because it's not required. And I think this just goes to show you that not only is it working better, People want it. If they didn't want it, they wouldn't give me their phone number, and they are. So if you're thinking like, oh, this just feels spammy, I wish I could get text messages. Like, here's a great example. When I am buying something and it's out of stock, right? Like I go to get this jacket and it says, notify me when it's in stock, okay? So here's what happens. They notify me through email. Well, by the time I check my email 24 or 48 hours later and I click the button, somebody beat me to it, right? Somebody who's got email on their phone and it dinged, they grabbed it. And then I get it and it's gone. Now, I wanted this certain outfit and it was, again, notify me, but it said, do you want a text? I'm like, yes, I want a text. So guess what? The second that item became available, I got a text and I immediately was able to purchase it and actually get it because it came to my phone. So trust me, there are people wanting to give you their phone number. They prefer the text over all of the emails. Frequency matters as well. So I would start with 1 to 2 texts per week, and that is it, okay? You can always increase over time, but it's better to start slow and build trust and use texting when it actually matters, not for every little update. We send way more emails than we do text messages, okay? So think about your texts almost like touch points in your relationship. 1 text a week can be a promo or a reminder. 1 text a month could be purely value or celebration, like a thank you or a personal message tied to a holiday, whatever that looks like. But remember, the second it becomes unvaluable and kind of just spammy, they're going to hit the stop button. Because remember, it's as easy as them saying stop back in a text message and they're unsubscribed. I also find it better when you can personalize everything. If you can use their name, and yes, even when you're using a software, you can actually put in like first name. So it's like Stacy, right? It says it. You could reference their last appointment or their last purchase. Think of just different things you could do. Could you segment by interest or by location? You want to make it feel like a message, like a one-on-one, not a mass blast. The more personal it feels, the less likely they are to actually unsubscribe and the more likely they are to respond. So here's the thing. Not everybody, like we're business owners, so we are business savvy. We know that when it's like, Stacy, how did your service go today? We're like, this is an automation. It went out, it was in a system, and as soon as I left, it sent it to me. Some people are like, wow, he already responded 10 minutes after our appointment. Like, we forget, not everybody knows this stuff, right? We know it because we buy these softwares and we see it. But regular average consumers, they have no idea. So how can we make sure it feels like I am personally reaching out to you? Don't automate and forget it, right? Yes, we love systems here at Well Oiled, of course, but your automations need a human touch, right? So I might have automations, but I'm reviewing those sequences. I'm making sure they still make sense. And there's some real human touches in between. Check reply messages personally when possible. Like I said, add emojis, add your voice, right? It's okay to feel like you. It's so funny because when I came into my second business, Well Oiled, and there's like a personal brand component, I remember thinking like, oh, I am not professional enough. I'm not polished enough. I say, I say like, I'm just not a professional speaker. And I try to get better and better and better at speaking and sounding a certain way, right? And it's so funny because I'm 10 years in and I've actually had people like consultants say to me, you're sounding a little too good. Can we go back a little bit? You're just not as relatable anymore, which is so funny, right? You don't have to be afraid of that. You don't have to think I've got to get better. You can just be you and have them sound like you and invite them to respond back. So texting doesn't have to be this one-way announcement. Ask a question, create a conversation, right? So, hey, we're planning our next VIP event. What would you like to see included? Reply back with one idea. So you're telling them, I would love to hear it. This is where that magic starts to happen and where text messaging is going to beat every other channel out there. Now, a pro tip is treat your text list like they're these top tier insiders. So give them first dibs, give exclusive invites. We've done texting where we say, listen, you're on our text list. You're getting this 24 hours before everybody else. We're not posting it on social. We're not sending it to our email, right? So all of a sudden they start to realize, wow, there's a reason to stay on this list. I'm going to get first priority before everybody else. When you make them feel special, right? When you make them feel like this is the only place that they're going to get the good stuff. If you do that, they'll never leave and they'll buy more than ever before. All right, so here's what we've covered. SMS is outperforming emails and phone calls by a lot. You need to get started now before your competitors catch on, right? I think this is like this wave. It's back on its second wave. People are hearing about it. They're going to start to kind of do it as well. There is a right way and a wrong way to do it, so do not wing this. If your content is sounding too bot-like, we have a free guide on how to humanize your content, how to take it from just plugging it in from AI, copying and pasting it, actually making it sound more like you. If you want that, comment the word humanize below and I'll get you our free PDF over right away.